really now is the best time to do it. And, I would say just educate yourself along the way, right? It's best not to practice on people, but to practice, with others. And then when you start to make your calls, you'll be more confident, and feel more confident when you do it. So I may make it sound easy, but I've just been doing it a long time. So it's all good.
How long have you been doing it? How long
I've been
have you
licensed
been
for 18
licensed?
years. 18 years. Yeah. Yeah. So, how I quickly, back in 2005 is when I got licensed. I was doing business prior to that, like being an investor and unlicensed and things like that. But 2005, I got my license. 2006 was a really quality year. And then 2007 hit. Some of you guys might not be even old enough to remember that, but 2007 was the Great Recession. And it lasted for a number of years. It was a very difficult market. People were losing their homes. There was a lot of foreclosures, a lot of bank-owned properties, and I worked that sector. So I was a part-time psychologist, a full-time shoulder to cry on for a lot of people who were losing their homes. I did a lot of cash for keys. I showed up with the sheriff at 6 o'clock in the morning, banging on the door. It's the not so pretty side of real estate. So just be mindful, when you're doing this business, that there are people in distress and in a difficult situation, that you come with a kind heart. And I think that'll go really far, definitely. So, and here I am 18 years later, I still work with a lot of investors. And that's what was my entree into that world, was that down market.
And when did you start wholesaling alongside being a realtor?
I'd say that I've done wholesaling over the years. However, I primarily did a lot of business with probates. And so probates are required to go into the MLS most of the time. And so I pretty much just work with investors. But to kind of answer your question, as wholesaling as an action, so I always work with investors primarily, but wholesaling as an action, it wasn't until I really started with astro flipping that I made it more of a business model. And that was with almost a year. Oh, it's over a year. July was my anniversary. So yeah.
Happy anniversary.
I know. It's a phenomenal family, guys. If anybody's on the fence about it, it's one of the best business decisions that I've made. It's really a beautiful community.
Benson, do you already have an address, or Miguel is out here looking out and he dropped this one?
Yeah, I do have a couple, but I'd like to nail down how we got to those properties, like from 20,000 feet to looking at some opportunities. And it also bears repeating, because it's repetition that sometimes will get that thing embedded in your head where it just finally makes sense and you have that aha moment. So when you first log into Privy, if you don't have Privy yet, this is what it looks like. It's web-based. You can access it from any device that has an internet connection. You can use it on your mobile device, like a phone or a tablet. One of the things that makes us really unique is we have these direct to MLS data contracts. And, both Renee and Corianne are licensed agents. And guess what they use in their business? They use Privy. And so there's a reason for that. It's because the MLS by itself is not really a good tool for even running comps. There's no comping algorithm. It's a very manual process. It's not designed for deal finding. It doesn't track investment activity. It doesn't allow you to find, buyers who you can do wholesale deals with. It's just not designed for real estate investing. So when we go and we negotiate this direct to MLS data contract, the goal for us is to get the raw data so we can curate it and make it actionable for whatever it is your strategy is. So today we're talking about wholesaling, but it could be used for finding fix and flips, rental properties for your portfolio. It could be used for doing creative deal structure like Sub2 or seller financing or wraps, or any of those sort of creative deal structures. So it's the key is in the data. And one of the things that we always talk about is that when we're analyzing our deals, we want to make sure we're looking for properties in areas where the ingredients to assemble a deal are already known to be located. So you don't want to be looking for properties in areas where you don't see the blue. The blue is where the activity is. That's where your comps are at. Now, the first thing somebody says is, well, aren't I going to have competition? Well, yeah, competition are your comps. It's a double-edged sword, but you cannot solve for comparables in Dodge City and be like, oh, I can just use these properties instead of these properties. They don't exist. So you're not going to be able to fix that problem. of there being no comps, but you can solve for competition. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Renee is going to show you some of her tips and tricks on how she is able to do better than the competition. The data for sure is going to give you an edge on what to do that will give you an edge on the competition as well. But if you think with the end in mind, you begin with the end in mind and you target specific areas, then you're already going to know that, okay, if I find a deal, the data to be able to prove after repair value, to build a buyer's list, to find investor-friendly agents, all that stuff is going to be present because I chose the right area to start with. Okay. So we drive into the greater Los Angeles area here. These clusters are now actually breaking up into individual clusters. And then eventually we'll be able to see where in Southern California you want to be looking. So guess what's also Southern California? Amboy.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that is.
In Amboy. I never even heard of that. It's like Amway and something else.
Homeboy, Amway homeboy.
Yeah. And then once we get into like the major, like LA County and some of the surrounding counties, then we start to see that's where the activity is, right? So try not to go into, Amway and Hemet and some of these areas that just don't have a whole lot going on. You want to be right in here. So as we get a little bit closer, these clusters will begin to break up, and then we'll see which neighborhoods you want to target. Now, there's off-market leads and there's on-market leads. In both situations, regardless of which target, if you market in a high investor activity area, that's going to give you the best opportunity to submit offers that have a higher chance of being accepted. Nobody wants to submit lowball offers. And if you're searching for properties that you can renovate or that your buyers can renovate in an area where no one's doing flips, well, guess what you have to do to get the numbers to work? You have to submit really lowball offers that no one's going to take. So the goal should be, and this is what makes it simple, is to find the unrenovated house that's next door to the renovated house. And if you can do that, it makes everything really, really simple for you. And that's what Privy excels at. So it looks like right up here in this little neck of the woods, I call this the four corners. It's where the 105 and the 110 cross. Many of these neighborhoods were areas people would never go to 5, 10, 15 years ago because it was just so dangerous. But guess what areas are the first ones to get renovated? It's those bad areas. It's where the houses are that have deferred maintenance. It's where, people didn't want to live necessarily, and they were just rental areas. But this is where you can go and you can actually start to do your market research. This is how you can learn what a deal is. So as I'm drilling down on this neighborhood, these clusters break up, and then I'm going to get to see the actual individual properties that were flipped. So how do I learn what a deal is in Southern California? Well, you just open up one of the more recent closed deals. This house just closed a couple days ago. It's on South Van Ness. It sold for $695. We can see that this one was sold on the MLS. Most renovations do sell on the MLS. And if we scroll down below here, we can see that this property was actually purchased off market. We know it was purchased direct from seller because it says public records here. And guess what, you guys? They got it for 70% of the ARV. So somebody who was cold calling and skip tracing and knocking on doors and spending money on marketing campaigns, after all of that, finally got to talk to a seller, and they only got it down to 70%. You're going to learn, this is part of the local market knowledge, that what you think a deal isn't really a deal necessarily. The data tells you. And one of the things you're going to find is that there are a lot more on-market properties than there are off-market properties in some markets. But the fact of the matter is even if it's 50-50, don't ignore on-market as a significant source of your deal flow, because then you're just automatically passing up on half the opportunities. And we already know how hard it is to find these houses in the first place. So don't eliminate anything just because you have this preconceived notion that you can't get a deal from the MLS when the data tells us we can. So this one right here, they got it 70%. In the assessor's records, you can see who flipped that house. So now you know who a good buyer is to do business with in that market.
So Benson, if somebody is completely new to a market, you're telling me that they can look at the map, they can follow the highest number, and they can know the hottest neighborhood in 3 to 4 minutes flat.
Very simply, yes. It is
pretty freaking cool.
It's great education, right? Because we're so focused on lead gen, and we're talking about cold calling and skip tracing and knocking on doors. This is what everyone's so focused on. But
Mhm.
what do you do when you actually get it? You ever heard that joke about, the dog that chases the bumper of the car and then it catches it, it doesn't know what to do with it?
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
do in our business. We finally catch the bumper of that car and we're like, oh my God, is this a deal? Is it not a deal? What do I even do with this? How do I comp it out? That's what
Mhm.
Privy does for you. So there's a comping algorithm right up here where it's automatically pulling comps for you using this real-time MLS data. We also have the rental comps in case you've got buyers that are potentially building a portfolio and they don't just want to know what percentage of ARV they can get a property at, but they want to know if it cash flows too. Now
Mhm.
you can know based off of the rental comps that those properties cash flow. So there's a lot to learn from here. Okay. Now I'm not going to get too much deeper into that. We do that in a lot of other trainings, but are there any deals that we can buy here today? Now, you could pull a list of off-market leads from here if you wanted, but again, this would be the neighborhood you would pull it from. You wouldn't pull it from just random areas. So I can come into the filter and I can come down here to these off-market tags and I can pull things like pre-foreclosures, tired landlords, zombie properties, absentee owners, owned 20 plus years. Those people are starting to get motivated to sell. We give you up to 10,000 per month with your normal Privy subscription. And I know that they're putting a special offer in here for right now. So if you use that promo code DAMG, we're going to take 20% off your first month or 30% off the annual plan if you decide to come on board with us. But you should absolutely do it because there's the 30-day money back guarantee and there's no risk to do what we're doing here today. So I'm going to find some stuff for Renee to call on, okay, by clicking one button, right? It doesn't get any easier than this, you guys. One button, and the system's going in and it's searching for properties that you can write offers on today. Okay, so here's a house. This came on the market. It's $803,000. You might be thinking, well, how is an $803,000 house a deal? Well, let's look at the numbers. So we look at this house here. First thing I noticed that it's original, right? This is grandma's house. Like these beautiful pink chairs. They got plastic on them. You got this original green carpet. This art, I mean,
Nice
this is so
gold.
nostalgic. I love it.
I'll take the cherubs.
That makes me feel like
Wow.
that's my house. That's my grandma's place. And so it needs work, but this wouldn't be like a full gut, right? This would be like probably a cosmetic flip, right? Because it's in decent shape. But if I come down to the comparables here, now we can see the data that's telling us that this has a potential margin. So these blue ones right here are the ones that we've isolated for you. We've already done all the math for you. So the 803,000, if we come in here, we can see that, oh my God, we got 3 flips. So remember earlier, I told you the goal should be to find the unrenovated house that's next door to the renovated house. This is a perfect example of that happening all through the algorithm. So if we can get this house for 803,000 and the after repair value is anywhere from 1.3 million and 1.5 million, our percentage of ARV, without even looking for a discount, is between 62 and 55% of the ARV. That's an on-market deal compared to that person that we just saw who spent all that time and money searching for off-market deals. They paid 70%. This one is without even, again, asking for a
Already
discount.
that on market.
That's already there. And then if we want to see what's going on with this, the closest sold flip just closed last month, 7/21. It's smaller than the subject property. It does have additional bedrooms and bathrooms. So we'd have to adjust for that if we can't fit in additional bedrooms and bathrooms in this. That's another exercise. In SoCal, Renee, what are the adjustments for like a bedroom and a bathroom in this price range?
Yeah, you're saying SoCal, right? So really what we're talking about are micro markets. And so
Yes.
I like to go high and then kind of adjust it down. I would go as high as probably 20,000, 15 to 20,000. People have an expectation. If you're going to sell over $1 million, even in mid-city like this, you want something nice. So yeah, 20,000.
So let's say it's 60 grand adjustment on this house, right? 2 bedrooms and a couple of bathrooms. We couldn't add any additional thing, but you think you'd be able to because we've got more square footage than these guys have. So there's some room there potentially to fit in some more valuable items. But even if we didn't, let's say it's 100,000. Let's take it down to 1.2 million. Okay, just to be conservative. So if the after repair value is 1.2 million on this, I can find my calculator. We're still at 66%. And for LA, I know that's pretty good.
That's good.
Would you
Yeah.
agree?
I would. Yeah.
So this would be something to want to call on, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this property here, one of the things about SoCal is that they're one of the only MLSs that we have in Privy where they don't show us the agent name. So I already did a thing here that it's very simple to do. It's just one extra step. You just Google the address. So highlight, search Google, it goes out, and then I almost always use Redfin, and then you'll find the agent information. Okay, very simple. But I already found this for Renee. So Renee, I'm going to give this to you in the chat.
Okay.
It's listed by a gentleman by the name of Elmon Leggett, Von
Okay.
Leggett.
And possibly look up another one while I'm calling, just in case he doesn't. Elman. Okay, don't know this guy. It's always interesting, you know, mid-city folks like this. It's a whole other micro market. I don't always see people. I know people, excuse me, in that market. So it's always good, right? It's always, you get to know a lot of other people. I mean, LA County in general is so huge. I had a friend who just got back from Portugal, and she said to me that LA County is the size of this country of Portugal.
Wow.
Whoa. Hey, Elman.
Yes,
Hi there. This is Renee. It's an agent call about the property on 60th Street. Is now a bad time to talk?
no, go ahead.
Wonderful. First of all, I appreciate you taking this listing. It looks like, is this somebody that you knew, or is this just a neighbor?
It's a friend of mine for 30 years.
Oh my gosh. So you're doing a real service for your friend. That's beautiful. Are they transitioning somewhere, or did they move?
The mother transition.
Okay. Is she doing okay? Is she in independent living or assisted living?
She is dead.
Oh my God. She really transitions. Okay.
Yeah.
She's onward to the beyond. All right. So
99 years old.
oh, 99, the things that she saw, right? Especially in that neighborhood, all the transition that's going on in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're probably getting 101 calls on this place because I know you just put it on the market. When are you going to be entertaining any offers on this?
Well, we're open tomorrow from 11 to 1.
Okay.
Then we'll go from there.
So brokers open 11 to 1, and then you're going to entertain offers probably over the weekend or Monday, something of the sort?
Something like that, because I've got to go out of town for 3 days. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Hopefully it's for pleasure and not an emergency. Is there a particular price that you know the seller's looking for? It sounds like it might be the kids that are selling it. Are they in a hurry, or they just want to get the highest and best?
The highest and best is what they're looking for.
Okay. Highest and
You
best.
ever find interesting?
I do actually. Yeah. And it looks like this house, although it needs some modernizing. Do you know anything about it? Are the bones in good condition? You know, just electrical, plumbing, things like that?
All of that's good. She pulled permits on both the foundation, stucco. She's very detailed on permits.
Wonderful. I love that. Okay. So permits, everything's up to date, title's clear, and the kids are just looking for highest and best. And if need be, we can pop by tomorrow for brokers open, and then I'll circle back with you as needed.
What's your plan for the property?
This would be a flip. So it would be coming in and updating the property and most likely putting it back on the market. The buyer that I work with is an easy close, so they're not looking for the deepest discount. I'm sure you're getting a lot of folks, just throwing out numbers?
Well, they're showing numbers, but at this point, it's what the seller wants. It's most important. Come by, take a look at it, see if you can work with that. The house has a lot of rooms.
Okay.
technically, it would probably easily be a four bedroom. It's got that many rooms.
Yeah, I could see it at the 1,400 square feet. I mean, it's a good size, house for that immediate neighborhood.
I would say it's more square footage than that, but I have not measured it.
Okay. Very good. I'll just look at what I have here and then I know where to find you. Would it be easy for you? Would you want me to send you my contact information or is that just too much in your inbox? Just so you know who you're talking to.
You can text it to me and I look forward to meeting you tomorrow.
All right. I appreciate your time. Thanks, Elman. Be safe.
Bye.
Take care. Okay. So, my breakdown on that is they're adult children who are selling their parents' home most likely. And they really are going for the highest and best. I'm going to loosely call it an inheritance. Okay. I'm not a lawyer, but this is a payday for them. So they are going to absolutely go for the highest and best. And that it is what it is. Benson picked one. It's like 2 days on the market. Okay. So I just rolled with it. So if we talk to somebody who has now like 60, 100 days on the market, that's a very different cadence in that conversation. And I will adjust for that. So everything is a style point. I didn't want to push. You could tell he was an older gentleman. You heard him. I asked, this must be a neighbor or something. Because I know in this neighborhood, a lot of people know each other. This is a very much a neighborhoody neighbor, the micro market, right? So I got into his world. I wanted to, ask him about who is the profile of this person. I already know she was 99 years old and probably lived in that house for 50 years. So yes, we know it's grandma's house, right? So what does that tell you? That there's a lot of emotional decision and there's probably more than one decision maker. I forgot to ask that, but there probably is. And so I'm not going to push. That would be the thing that I probably would go see that if I really did have a buyer for it. And they are not going to take it at a deep discount. So who knows? There could be an end buyer or, somebody who's going to buy it and fix it up and live in it themselves. And those people always get the highest and best, not the fix and flippers.
So somebody who only has a wholesaling strategy right now, how would you suggest, when do they actually, readdress this property?
You said readdress it?
Yeah. Should they come back to it in like 2 weeks or would you just say, move on?
That's a good question. I would keep tabs on it. I know this micro market, so it's going to sell super quick. But to just give a general answer, think of it like this. Sometimes I think we get in our heads because we go, oh, okay, this is, 60th Street, this older gentleman, it's 2 days on market. It's going to get an over asking and forget about it. I just need to go on to the deeper, Jamil says it should be 60 plus days on market. But here's what I would encourage you with that while you're prospecting. There's never going to be enough 60 plus days on market in most markets. We have a housing crisis in this country. So you can get away with it for maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And then if you're going to continue this business, it's like, well, where's all the new stuff? So call these folks and become friendly with them. Now, I don't know if this guy's going to get a bunch of fixers in the year. He doesn't sound like he's a probate agent. One of the things I did forget to ask is I usually ask, do you get properties like this often, or is this just kind of a one-off? For him, it's probably a one-off. So that'll indicate that agent doesn't really traffic in these properties. But this is an agent that knows this neighborhood really well and has been there a long time. And you have to assess when you're starting your business, how many people are you going to stay in communication with? And it truly does take anywhere from 8 to 12 touches for people. Probably takes your first year. Don't throw anybody out. If you did 20 deals with 20 different people instead of one person who had 20 deals because they had all the goodies, you don't want to throw people out, right? So this guy might be one of them. So hopefully what I said made sense. I have a feeling he probably doesn't trip over a lot of fixer properties, but he knows a lot of people in that neighborhood, and he probably knows another agent that does. And guess who's going to get the phone call? Because I was nice to him and I kept in touch with him. Right. Yeah. So that's what we're looking for. Okay. So questions.
So as Benson's moving into this other one, I've got another question for you. I've seen this one pop up into the chat. A lot of people, come and they address agents as, hey, I'm an investor. This is what I need. Some agents have a kind of very closed mentality to the I word investor. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to, what an agent might be thinking when they hear that word and maybe how somebody can overcome those objections when they immediately close because of that word?
I would just call out the elephant in the room and bring some humor to it. You know,
Okay.
my name's Renee. Now, you heard me say it's an agent. So I do things a little bit differently if I'm calling on markets. So let me flip the script, okay, and pretend like that I'm not the agent. So I would say, I'm calling on, now this one's up here, 64th Street. So my name's Renee. I'm calling on 64th Street. Is now a bad time to talk? You always want to ask people if now is a bad time to talk. We tend to throw up on people. And if you use that, that's an emotional intelligent tactic in terms of languaging. So if you ask that of people, it gives them a second, it hits the brain like, oh, okay, you know, I'm prepared to listen to what you're saying. Is now a bad time to talk? They'll tell you yes or no. They will, no, now's not a bad time to talk. Well, you're probably getting 101 calls on 64th Street because it looks like it's a great project and a great opportunity. Stop talking. Yeah, I am getting a lot of calls on this one. Well, I'm an investor in town, and I'm going to pull no punches about that. You know, I don't want to be another investor just calling for something. I'm here to create a relationship with you. And this is one of several homes that you might have moving forward that I'd like to work with you. Is that something you'd be interested in? So I called out the fact that I'm an investor, and I called out the fact that there's 900 other investors calling. Not once did I say, what do you have for me? Because guys, what's happening out here is everybody is saying the same thing. You know, what's in it for me? Do you have something I can write on? What do you have that I could write on? What do you have that I could buy for cash? I'm here to tell you that, you know, I know it keeps getting said in the guru rooms, but we've heard that for years and years, and it's only getting worse. So one of my mottos is don't get mad, get creative. So get creative with what you're going to say and tell them you're an investor, and don't hide it, and be kind of fun with it, you know? The other thing, if any of the ladies who are out here, most of the phone calls tend to be guys, tend to be men. So I want to leave you with this. If you're a younger person and you sound like you're a younger person, please up-level your vocabulary. Don't call people bros, dudes, hey. The National Association of Realtor, the average agent is about 55 years old. In some of these areas like LA, sure, there's a lot of younger people, but this gentleman had to be in his 70s. He sounded like he was, probably is in his 60s. I'm not going to address him as that. So please be mindful of that. And if you are a woman in this business and you're calling as an investor, you already have an advantage because there's not as many female voices in this sector. So just know that that's an advantage. And if you're neither older or a woman, just use what I said and slow it down. Don't try to hustle people. It sounds, when I get called from other investors, because remember, I'm on this side of it, it sounds like somebody is in a boiler room and they're hustling me. Don't do that, please. Have a conversation, slow it down. This is a relationship-based business. If you're just trying to do a deal on 64th Street and that's your attitude, it's going to be a long road. So just, you know, you want to create a relationship. Yes, you want to close deals. You want to create a relationship. Jamil says it, it's not in the high, it's in the high again. It's in the follow-up. You're almost never going to do a deal on the first call. I think in 18 years of being a real estate agent, probably 5 times did I have somebody say, you know what? I like you, come and list my house. Literally, that has happened to me 5 times in 18 years. It's not a business strategy. So, you know, be good, be kind to people and keep following up. Okay.
Absolutely. I thank you for putting it in that way, because I think, you know, in this business, we all understand that it's important to have KPIs, key performance indicators. But you and I, being on both sides of the phone as a realtor and a wholesaler, we know what it sounds like to be somebody's KPI. Hey, you know, I just really want to get an offer in so that I can say that I have 5 offers today. And it's like, oh, you know, nobody wants to be somebody's KPI. Everybody wants to have that connection. So approach like you're about to be on the phone with your nextest, bestest bud ever, not with somebody that's just there to receive an offer.
Amen.
All right, Benson, I'm sorry. You let the ladies just chat and we can't help ourselves.
We do.
could go all
we had
day,
a meeting in
but
the ladies' room.
It looks like you've got something good here.
No, it's great. I love this. I learned a ton just by sitting here, and they're giving you a bunch of love in the chat, Renee. Everyone's
good. Thank you.
giving you love on how you slowed it down and you're real, you're talking about the conversation, why you said what you said, like it's amazing. People love that. So keep doing that. And I think that people will leave here with a bunch of nuggets they can take home. And write this stuff down, you guys. I think half a dozen people are like, take notes. There's a reason.
I like that. I don't want to be somebody's KPI. That should be on your sticky note. Don't
I like
be,
that too,
I'm not
Corinne.
somebody's KPI, right? And so, yeah, don't hustle people,
Right.
guys. Don't hustle. And agents are getting savvy to this. How do I
Mhm.
know? Because I'm an agent. I call as an agent and they're still have an attitude with me. So I know if you're not calling as an agent, you're going to get it. So don't get mad, get creative, slow it down and be kind and be relationship based and follow up. That's the model. That's the model. And you'll do great, and have patience and grace with yourself, because this does take time. This is not a get rich quick scheme business. The television makes it seem like it is, but it's not. And lastly, I live in LA, right? Most of these television shows are in Southern California, whether they're on HGTV and they're the flip type of show, or they're the Selling Sunset, the high end stuff, because I know most of these people. Okay. That is not real. They are out there door knocking and hustling like the next of us. They're just door knocking Brentwood, they're door knocking Santa Monica.
Good heels.
They're door knocking in their Pradas, okay, and their expensive suits, but they're doing it. So the two British guys on Selling Sunset, I know that's how they started there. They came over here from England. They didn't even know anybody. They put on their fancy one suit that they had, and they walked uphill both ways in Brentwood because it's hilly, and they door knocked,
So funny.
$5 million homes, and that's how they started. So, it's out there for everybody, right? It's all good. All right.
So this
All right,
house,
I want to be on
here
another call.
it's been on the market another couple days here. It's for sale for $534. It's a 2.2, 1565 square feet. It's in a neighborhood with a bunch of flips, right? So this is a good thing. Every one of the comps that says this house that's a deal is a flip. But one of the things I immediately noticed is that in every but one case, they paid more for their flip than you can buy this one for. So this one was $550, $585, $561, $669. Now, every one of these people who's flipping is also a potential buyer. So this is very insightful to know that buyers will pay up in certain markets here. This house right here is between 63 and 74% of the ARV at asking price. Now, you don't have to let these things season. I know there's this thing about seasoning, but if you get this under contract and you've got a buyer who's hungry and they need inventory, and the numbers make sense, and you've got a good relationship with them, and they know how to spot value, then you don't necessarily have to wait for it for 60 days or 90 days for it to season, so that they can think that, okay, nobody else got it, now I can go for it. Like, there's something to be said for speed and efficiency and being able to identify a deal right out of the gates faster than anybody else. Now, unfortunately, that's not what most buyers see value in. They think for some reason, if something was on the MLS, it's not necessarily a deal. I just think there's a balance there. So I seek out the buyers that have no problem buying stuff from the MLS, and that will basically bare their soul. And this is how I ask it. I'm like, listen, looks like you bought this house on 70th Street from the MLS. You got it at 72% of the ARV. If I can find you something else like that, if I can beat everybody else to it and lock it up, and it matches all your other deal criteria, would you have a problem if I brought that to you? And I get them to say, no, I wouldn't. And then I can put that in my back pocket. And then if I bring something to somebody on the road and they say, well, it's from the MLS, or, it didn't see, well, listen, John, we talked 2 weeks ago and you told me you were going to be one of my best buyers. And you told me that you would, as long as all the numbers made sense, that you would take it. So I like to get that out of the way really early on in the conversation, and it creates less objections down the line because you've already kind of gotten that out of the way. So this house right here, I just sent it in the chat, Renee.
Oh, let me look.
It's listed by Ray Duran.
Boy, there's a lot of stuff going on with that.
It's in the hosts. It'd only be hosts and
Host and panelist.
panelists. but I'll put that phone number in here again for you.
Yeah.
As I drop it again, I don't see it. There it is.
Sorry.
Oh,
it got
there it is.
buried
That's
there.
okay. 323. Yeah. And what is the gal's name or person's name?
The man's name is Ray Duran.
Oh, right. Okay. You said that. And that's for 64th. Okay. That's
Mhm.
And while she's starting this call, I want to remind you that if you don't have this tool today, you can get 30% off an annual plan or 20% off your first month. And the beauty of it is you get a 30-day guarantee on that. So if this isn't the right tool for you, which I would be very surprised to find out, there's always that option, but this is, and I've tried them all, this is the good one.
I know. There is something to be said,
Really have
guys,
tried
that
them all.
us as agents use this. It's an easier interface. You know, my MLS is clunky and
Hi, this is Ray Duran. At the sound of the tone, you may leave a voicemail, or for a quicker response, you may text me or email me at rayd@larenetwork.com. Thank you very much and have a fantastic day. Al sonido del tono, dejo un breve mensaje y le regreso la llamada lo más pronto posible. Gracias.
At the tone, please record your message.
I'm only
When you're
leaving a
finished
message so you
recording,
guys
may
can
hang
hear
up
it, okay?
Or press 1 for more options. To leave a callback number, press 5.
Ray, how are you? This is Renee, fellow agent. Listen, I know you're getting bombarded on 64th Street with all kinds of probably investors just trying to give you random numbers. I've got a buyer for you, solid number. Let's see if we can put something together. Text me back 323-377-7976. And I'm also going to text you. Okay, I just kind of did that. It depends, guys. Everything is different. Don't, you know, the beauty about real estate is it's fluid. So if I look at this and I go, dang, you know, I really do have somebody, I'm going to hit this guy from all angles. He gave me permission in the outgoing message. He said, text me, you know, I'm calling him, email him, you know, so I'm going to be like, boom, boom, boom. Just like how Benson said, you know, if you've got that buyer on the line and you're really serious about putting the two pieces of the puzzle together, then you gotta jump, you know, and it's like, how high, you know, that's the attitude you need to have with yourself, you know, and so you just go for it. You know, this guy, I gave him a sense of urgency. I was like, hey, I got a serious buyer for you. And I kind of threw the investors under the bus a little bit, but this is all as well, you know, well isn't good in competition. You know, hey, you're probably getting a ton of investors just giving you, you know, low offers. Call me. I got a buyer. You know, we can put this together. Okay. Don't worry about it. He's not even going to remember it. You know, just leave a message and be a sense of urgency. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, because we've looked at, you know, Benson kind of brought up the fact that, like, if you're the first one to a day one property, it doesn't mean that it's not something that's wholesalable. If there is motivation to be able to share that with your end buyer at something that brings them value. Like the whole point as a wholesaler is to take care of our client. Our client is that end buyer, which means we have to be able to provide something of value outside of the MLS. So even if we're coming after the first, like, on market for one day property, but we get them on the phone, they're like, yeah, we need to get this wrapped up today. We've got motivation to get this under contract. You know, we put it on the MLS to get the most eyes, but let's go. Okay, great. I can get this under contract, you know, 20K lower, and we're going to push it out at this, but that's still provides value to your end buyer because they're going to get it at a number that's lower than how it sits on the MLS. And that's why you kind of have to play that MLS game of, are we on day 1 or day 30? And how do I package this in a way that gets my buyers excited?
And that's brilliant. And I also want to put out there that as you are building your buyer list, you know, think out of the box, right? So understandably, for those of you who are brand new, you need a foundation, just like the foundation of the house. You need to understand how to do it one way or the way before you can get creative. And I just want to put this out there as something to ponder, is that wholesaling, remember, goes back to the beginning. Wholesaling is an action. It's a verb, not a noun necessarily. So when you're building your buyer list, ask, are you a buy and hold buyer? Are you a fix and flip buyer? Are you a developer? Because all three of those people have different exit purchases. So somebody who is a buy and hold buyer, they're going to chase the market up with equity. They don't really care. They don't have holding costs necessarily and flipping it and all this. They don't need to get it at, 70% off, right? They will be glad to buy it maybe at 75 or 80% of ARV. That's where we saw somebody else in there. So just remember that, and then work it backwards. Like, okay, well, it's day one, $534,000. I talked to the agent. They're not going below that, but that doesn't mean that you can't get it under contract and sell it to your buyer. And if you're licensed, guess what? You'll make the commission. But if you're not licensed, then you ask the buyer to pay you a fee. So then you can still double end it with the agent. But then how do you get paid? Yeah, you might wholesale it, but just, it might be a smaller fee, right? Or if it gets sold direct to the end buyer, then just ask them to pay you like a finder's fee, something like that. You get it if you can't get it under contract as an assignment. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, but remember that you're, like Benson said, it doesn't have to be like you ignore day one, because it really depends on who your buyer is.
Yeah.
Mario was just saying he's got a good buyer who's a landlord in LA County who's buying up to 85%
Yeah.
of
There
the
you go.
ARV.
Awesome.
So he
Mario, get at
learned
me.
their buy box, and now he can tweak his format and how he goes out there and finds those properties. So I did find another property here that we could target while we were chatting.
Okay.
And I did search based off of seasoning here. So I added in days on market of plus 60 days in this particular search, because I wanted to find some houses that have been sitting for a while, since we've been talking about that, Renee. So, and after doing that, so if you guys can see that, I added it in here, right here, days on market. So you can put that into your saved searches. And this is one of the other cool things I didn't mention before, but you don't have to be in the privy system all day working this. I know that most of us have jobs. You probably already have a 9 to 5, you got a family, you've got baseball practice, you got the bar, you got to manage, all these things you have to responsibilities in your life. Privy has an automated system that will find opportunities for you automatically. All you do is you create the filter, you click save search, and you give the search a name, and it will email you every time a property is found that matches your criteria. And you can get alerts up to every hour. So if you're super active, and let's say you checked in the morning, you didn't have anything new. Well, if something new pops on the market at 11 o'clock, you're going to know about it at noon. And then you can take quick action if need be. So let the algorithm do this heavy work for you. It's really like having a team of virtual assistants. Like, you can hire some good people in the Philippines to help you do certain things in your business for, $5-8 an hour. But this is free virtual assistants helping you find opportunities, track markets, build your buyers list, find investor activity without a very heavy lift on your end. But this property right here, Renee, is one of the houses that I found. It's been on the market for 124 days.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about this one is they started a renovation. So you see they got doors hanging out. There's no sink in here. They've got some of the things already done. There's a play on this. Like, there's some fix and flipper here who's like needs their money back. They realized they were just too deep, right?
I call that a half house.
A half house.
Yeah. It's not as bad as some half houses I've sold, but that's a half house. Usually they have pipes coming out of the kitchen, like, where all the sinks and the kitchen and stuff is supposed to go. But oh boy. All right, let's
they
call
were
on
just
this one.
so close.
This is heartbreak right here. They're asking too much, though. I can see that already for the condition.
Well,
See, just
check
in
out
my-
the comp. So it's for sale for $999. And
Yeah.
you're probably right. But here's what some of the other completed flips are selling for. 1.45 million. These two here, both sold. So some people would buy this from a day one flip with no work done to it at all, would buy a flip at 69% of the ARV. And this is already way further along. So it may not be too high, but it depends.
Yeah, let's find out. I'm curious on this one, because honestly, this neck of the woods, this part of LA is en fuego, like this mid-city area. So probably any other investor who traffics in that mid-city area will have known about this. So I'm really curious about the feedback. I do
Yeah.
hope this agent picks up the phone. So this will be a good call if they do.
Cool. So let me give you the contact info for this one.
Yeah. See, but I only know that, right? Because I know this area. I've sold in this area. Like, I know this area. I've sold a lot of properties around around Los Angeles. And so I feel blessed in that way. And also when I first moved here, I had a job that took me all over the city. So I really got to know this city well. LA is not, it's not really an easy city. I jokingly say it's a bunch of different neighborhoods trying to be a city. So, you know, people say, oh, LA. And I'm like, oh boy, you
Oh, I
got to
know.
kind of know
It's
like the micro market, right? It's
so many of
seriously.
them. I lived there for 4 years. It's
Oh, okay.
crazy.
All right.
Wow.
I grew up in Washington, DC, and that's even crazier city to get to know. So I think I do crazy okay. Or maybe I'm just crazy. Well, what remains to be seen. Oh no.
You have reached a number that has been given.
562-861-5331.
5311.
Maybe, hold on. I'm at that point where,
And if you guys want at your W-2 to receive an email from Privy with new deals, then let us get you a percentage off today with the code DAMG, 30% off for your annual and 20% off for your monthly fee next month.
We're sorry. You
no,
have reached a number that has been given.
yeah, that's the number.
LA's having a hard time selling this one if their number is not listed.
Hey, that might be the answer, guys. Listen, the agents are lazy. You know, you're going to call and then it's going to, here, let me see something. Let me see if I can just look it up real quick too. So it's,
Gordon just dropped it in the chat
he?
too, I think with a
Somebody
couple
else?
slightly different things. Thanks, Gordon.
where,
Yeah, it's a
where's the-
co-list between Caroline and Aurora.
Can you just read me the number? I don't know where it is.
I'm not allowed to, girl.
Oh, where is it? Can
Um,
somebody put it in there again?
Hosts and panelists.
Okay, I
dropped
got it. I got it.
There you go.
Okay. And then this is Caroline's number, the 213.
Thanks for calling Redfin. If you're a real estate agent.
For the love of God, that's Redfin's
Oh
number.
no, you guys, that's the Redfin number. You guys never take the Redfin number because this is one of their Redfin agents. They're trying to generate leads for. This is not
Yeah.
the phone number to the agent. So
That will save you time knowing that alone is
Yeah.
that Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com are trying to take your information and feed it to somebody who pays them monthly.
yeah, so that's what that is. So what I did is I Googled Caroline. I'll Google Aurora next because
Yeah.
Caroline didn't have a ton of information.
Or then Expert Real Estate and Investment. That might be their own brokerage, but that whomever answers the front desk, like, again, I'm giving you my thought process, guys, if you really want to know. It wouldn't surprise me if agents just said the heck with it. And I hate to throw my fellow agent under the bus, but it's like if anybody has to do anything that's inconvenient, they won't do it. So just that alone will set you apart. You know, this is taking an extra minute, right? Benson's kind enough to give us his time. I know where are we at on time, by the way? Is this for an hour?
Oh,
we got
it's
8
for an
minutes.
hour. We only have
Okay.
a little bit of time left.
All right.
Always
All right. Let's see
heartbreaking.
what we can do.
So let's try Aurora.
Okay.
Cool.
There's a number I found.
Yeah, that other thing about the, I'm going to reiterate it again about the Redfin number is, guys, you know, you wonder why agents get really annoyed while we get a lot of text messages and calls and stuff like that. If you're really starting to do outbound calls, not so much on market, but off market, it's because we get called by Redfin. We get called by Zillow. Everybody is there to take money out of our pocket. We are getting hounded all day long. So that is why, if you're going to take anything away from this call, bring something to the party. Didn't your grandmother teach you right? Bring something to the party. You don't show up empty-handed to the dinner party. Bring a bottle of wine. I'm not kidding you. That's how I think. What can I bring to this party? I'm going to bring my voice and my words, but I'm going to bring like the wine, right? And it'll flip up your energy. It'll flip up your attitude when you're talking to folks on the phone. Okay, do we find her?
Yes, it's in the chat under hosts and panelists.
Got it.
You've got her
Okay.
name and number.
And this is Aurora, yeah.
Thank you for calling it for real estate. How can I help you?
Hey, good. This is an agent call. Is Aurora, or I believe it's Caroline, the agents for 58th Place, are they there? Or do they have a cell?
No, they're up to lunch right now. Is there something that I can help you with?
I did want to be able to contact them. Is there an opportunity that I could get either of their cell numbers and I will call them?
You know what? It's better if you call the office because we know we're not allowed to give their cell phone numbers.
Okay.
Is there something that maybe I can help you with the property? Caroline's assistant. My name is Sylvia.
Oh, Sylvia. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, just sort of what's happening with this. This is a really great property. I see that it's kind of a half house. You know, it looks like maybe somebody started the project and just couldn't finish it. What's the story on that?
No, everything was rehab, but the problem was that the squatters went into the property. So that's why you're gonna see those boards, the steel boards on the windows and doors,
Okay.
because they went into the property and they destroyed the property.
Ugh.
Not completely, but they removed, the vanities, the sinks, the appliances and the kitchen. So it needs now some work, because like I say, they went into the property and they did a lot of stuff in there.
I am so sorry that happened. Yeah, that
So
really
right
stinks.
now, I know that they're working with an offer. We haven't changed the status yet because we're still waiting for some paperwork.
Okay.
But I know they're going back and forth with an offer. I still don't know if they're going to be accepting the offer, but I can see on their system that going back and forth. So we're still waiting on that.
Okay, understood. Thank you for the follow-up, and I'm glad you're the right person I need to speak to. Do you think they'd be looking for backup at all, or should I just wait to?
Yeah, usually, if you want to submit an offer, just do it. But like I say, right now, you may get an email from them saying that everything is on hold because they want to review, but it's because they're working with an offer at this time.
Okay, understood. I tell you what, I'll just make it easy. I'll circle back with you, in about 2-3 days, or when do you think you might know?
Yeah, call me by the end of the week and I will give you a better status by then.
Yeah, let's start there. I don't want to make any more work or paperwork for anybody. But listen, before I let you go, do you guys sort of work in this neighborhood? Do you have any other properties that might be in distressed or dilapidated condition I could take a look at?
No, that was the only one that we have at this time.
Okay, and are you just in this neighborhood, or are you all over LA County?
No, all over any other county, Santa Ana, Riverside, San Bernardino, Los Angeles, everywhere.
Where have you been all my life? It sounds like, because I actually do business from Ventura down to San Diego. So would you be opposed if I just sent you my contact information, so at least you know who the heck you're talking to and we can keep each other on the radar?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'll do that to this number. Yeah, this is your best number?
That's the best number that you can call.
Okay, beautiful. And before I let you go, it sounds like you guys have investors that you work with.
No, usually, we work with REO properties and we're not allowed to have any specific investors. A lot of people call us and they go, just put me on your list, and whenever you have something available, send us the list. We don't do that. Whatever we have, we prepare it to be on the market and we put it on the market. We don't have any list for anybody or any investors that we work with.
Okay.
Usually we have to be fair with everybody, and that's the first rule that the bank, always, ask us to do it.
Yeah,
So,
perfect. Okay. And the reason why I asked is because I often get properties that I just can't buy everything. I mean, I wish I could, but I just can't. So if I had something that might fit the bill of one of your investors, do you want me to keep it in front of you? This would be something that I would have as a buyer, or no, that's just too much work.
You know what? That will be a question for the broker. It will be up to them. So, you can send us an email with all of that and they will reply back to your email.
Okay.
That will be easier for them.
Beautiful. I'll do that. And tell me your name again.
My name is Sylvia.
Sylvia. And my name is Renee. Okay. I appreciate your time, Sylvia. I'll give a bell on Friday and see what's going on with this property. Appreciate your time. Be safe out there. Take care. I mean, that's the best you can do with that. So
Yeah, that was a good result. You didn't throw that call away and just make it worthless. You were talking to her, so you turned it into something positive.
and thank you for that. And what I got from that is what I suspected. And this just comes with time, guys. Whatever that name is, that excellence and real estate thing, that's an independent broker, most likely, or one I just haven't heard of because I've literally never heard of it. So that kind of tells me they're an independent broker. And that gal just said, oh, we're basically like an REO brokerage. So that's why they said most everything, they're not dealing with buyers. But you see how I brought the wine to the party? Like,
Yes,
what can I do
I
for
saw
you?
it.
What can I do for
Mhm.
you? Right. So I just flipped it. And she was still a little bit standoffish. And then she said, call the broker, who's probably Caroline, that first gal on there, the first listing agent. And it's probably her daughter or her
Yeah.
sister. Aurora is the
Renee,
second
if you end up wanting to call on that again, I found another version of that first phone number that was 4311 instead of 5311.
Yeah.
If you want to call on that one later on, I just want to let you know on that.
Okay, perfect. That's what I think I have.
And the
so.
big ticket there is you have homework. Like you have to follow up when you said you were going to follow up to some extent, or that goes nowhere. So that's where
Right.
that second touch becomes something for somebody.
And-
I cannot believe it. We are already out of time.
I
y'all.
know. We're like 10 minutes
It
over.
flies,
sorry.
it flies. Benson, thank you so much for Privy. I don't get to tell you directly all the time that this has changed my business and changed the way that I do work. And I appreciate it so much. So
Oh,
thank you for this awesome software.
Ditto.
Thank you,
Ditto.
Renee, for being here and just downloading us with wisdom like you always do. If she brought you wisdom, please be dropping some emojis in the chat right now. Tell her how awesome she is.
Oh, thank you.
And, you know, as we sign off here, tell us how we can get a hold of you outside of this Zoom.
Thank you. I just put it in the chat. So I am not the best on social media, but it's Real Estate Renee K, because my last name is actually pronounced Kishi, but nobody ever says it. I just say Renee. So at Real Estate Renee K. And then the phone number is in there. It's getting lost with all the thank yous. So just get at me, guys. I'm here. Even though I'm in LA, I'm happy to help anybody across the country. You know, deals come, LA is a big city. So folks move in and out of here all the time. I'm looking for other people to do business with and transact with. And if you're an agent, I'll do a referral with you. If you're not in another state, you know, if you're not licensed and you just want to do wholesaling, please let me know as well. Let me know who you are, because even if it's not for me, there's one thing I've always been is an excellent connector. I'm a very good matchmaker. So even if you just like what I had to say here today, or you want to hang out with me, or you just want to be like, hey, you know, this chick's cool or whatever, and I want to do some business with her, you can always just say, hey, I'm in this state, and you know, I will do business with you because I know somebody in astro flipping, or I know somebody in my realtor community that's doing business there. And so business gets done that way. It's not that linear. It's not just go in the MLS and do a deal, right? Remember, this is a relationship-based business. So as you grow that, don't just stay in your own backyard. That's why I pivoted into doing wholesaling, because it's nationwide. It's not that I'm the local area specialist, right? I just happen to be, because I started out as a real estate agent. But take advantage of what this whole country has to offer, and Privy is where it's at. So thank you, Benson, for developing and creating this tool that we can all just grow and be of service to other people with. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks
Good
everybody
job
for being
today.
here.
Appreciate you guys.